Salutations, Imperial citizens and battle brothers. I am a very tired brother Tobias, and I want to go over the breaking news, which have been breaking news all day. The new data slate is here. Now, this will be a quick review. Unlike the other times, I will basically only talk about things that affect Space Marines, more specifically Ultramarines, directly. So let's go through all the changes that impact us as a faction. First of all, nothing happened with anything with the stratagems or oath of moment or anything. So no core rules changes basically at all. Everything works as intended and we only adjusted the balance across multiple factions. So let's go over the data slate and scroll down. So sisters buff, custodies, nerfs, and buffs. Nothing on AdMech. Eldar, Azurman is gone, which is good for Marines. Demons are a new army now. A bunch of stuff happened. So here we go. Space Marines. Now, Oath of Moment is now clarified that only actual Codex Space Marines get the +1 to wound on Oath, so Bloodless Angels are no longer a thing, but Ultramarines can still use it, which of course they do. This was made for us, so they're not taking our rule away. Next, we have some nerfs here. First of all, the Stormlands Task Force got nerfed. You can only use Windswift Evasion, which is the 6-inch reactive move, on infantry or mounted units. So no more reactive move on a land speeder or a storm raven or on Gilliman, which makes this detachment a lot worse, and I don't know if it's still good. It might be because it's still so mobile and fast, but this is definitely a significant nerf to the Stormlands. The lieutenant in Phobos armor traded his d6 move for a flat 6 move, but he can no longer charge. This nerf honestly makes me really happy because I thought the lieutenant Reaver deep strike thing was really bad. Actually, it was just worse than taking 2 Reaver squads. So if this gets nerfed, it's no longer being put into lists, and that makes me happy. I think this was terrible, and I got way too many questions about it, and so I'm happy it's gone, because now I don't have to answer those questions anymore. Now this one breaks our heart. Oriel Ventress, Master of the Fleet, you can only give Deep Strike to a Phobos, Gravis, or Tacticus infantry model in your army. No longer are you able to give your Centurion Devastator squad the Deep Strike keyword. A lot of people are saying this killed the Vanguard completely. The Vanguard Spearhead is now dead. And I tend to agree. I want to try it with regular reserves first, and maybe you would just have to restructure the way the list works. You have to play more fair 40k, more classic fighting over objectives, and then you use the Centurions to shoot the objectives instead of playing this very passive game where you only use the Centurions to chip the damage in. But this definitely hurts. So you can no longer up down on turn 1 because you don't have the deep strike keyword, and you can no longer up down anywhere on the table. You now have to come in from the board edges. I don't know if it's still good enough, but I will do some testing. The only positive I see, and that's why I want to say it, is you no longer need Uriel Ventress and his company heroes unit to play the Centurions, and the Centurions got cheaper, which I will get to later on in the recording. That means you have almost 240 points extra to play with. That is an entire Inceptor squad you can now put into the list. So I want to try and build something with the Vanguard, but most people are saying it's probably over, and I think they're right, but I will try my best, okay? Now, those are all the changes for Space Marines, because all the bad changes, but we have some good changes too. Let's jump to, not here, the Codex Space Marines FAQ. There's again here, only the Codex detachments get the +1 to wound from Oath, but here's something pretty important, which is something I complained about from people who follow me on the Discord. The Mastercrafted Heavy Bolt Rifle on the Captain in Gravis armor now has the Assault and Heavy keyword. This is actually really good, because now you can actually benefit from your +1 to wound in Anvil Siege Force. So yeah, I think I texted the app team about this. I wrote an email to the Games Workshop support, and I'm not saying it's because of me, but well, I am saying it because if I say it, you guys are going to go into the the comments and say, thanks, Tobias. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Thomas, for fixing the heavy bolt rifle captain. Now, on to the points. So we do have some points changes, and we're just gonna go to the Space Marine. So basically, Guard and Eldar got slightly nerfed, but nothing important. Chaos Demons are in new faction now with completely new rules. And where are we? Codex Space Marines. So here we are. A bunch of things happened. Let's make this a bit bigger so everyone can read it at home. So we do have some nerfs. Company heroes went up to 105. This breaks my heart. I just bought my third box and I really enjoyed playing with 2 units, but I did see this coming, kind of, because company heroes have always been low-key the best unit in the book, and now they are up by 10 points. I think you still take a unit if you have a character that wants them, but it is definitely a lot more painful now at 105. Because if you wanted to play 30 of them, excuse me, 3 units of them, you have to pay 30 points extra. The Ballistus Dreadnought goes up, same with all of the vehicles. The Predators go up a bit, the Vindicator goes up, and the Whirlwind goes up. Nobody plays the Whirlwind, so this is completely irrelevant. The Whirlwind was bad anyway, but yeah, so all of the shooty vehicles are now more expensive. I think you still take them, but you probably have to mix around a few numbers here because, yeah, the Space Marine hull spam lists have been performing really well, and this might take them down a notch towards a bit more balanced gameplay. We also got 10 points on Marneus Calgar. Shoutouts to my boy. He's now back to the index points cost. I don't think this is like a big deal breaker because Calgar is just really good. If I have to describe a model, excuse me, I'm describing a model to you, okay? Listen to me and just think about it. There is a monster in Codex Tyranids or something. There's a monster in Demons or Tyranids. It is a 210 point monster with 12 wounds, a 2-up save, a 4-up invuln. It has a 4-up feel no pain when it gets to half strength, and it has advance and charge and fallback and charge. Then that monster has 6 attacks at 8-3-3, and it also has 10 extra attacks at 5-2-2. So 16 attacks, advance and charge, and it has 12 wounds, 6 of which have a 4-up feel no pain. If you think that is a fair amount of points for what I just described, that's just Marneus Calgar by himself. He doesn't need a unit if you are playing in Stormlands, because the only rule you are losing is fallback and shoot, which on his 4 pistol shots is kind of like whatever. I want to try it out. I want to know if Calgar is just good by himself. So instead of paying the 20 points hike on the heroes and him, why not try him solo? Might be good enough. You could also attach something else that got cheaper, which is the Blade Guard veterans. Blade Guard went down by 10 points and 20 per 6. This makes Blade Guard legitimately pretty interesting because 6 Blade Guard and a Judiciar is now 230 points, which is really cheap. And that unit is pretty good against Inari Eldar. You hold an objective from behind a wall, and if they charge you with all of their fight first stuff, you still have to fight first in their turn. So this is actually like pretty decent. And they don't need Oath because they reroll once to hit. So, and if they have Oath, you can reroll saves and get +1 to wound. So the best of both worlds. Centurion Devastators went down by 40 points for 6. I Many people are saying this probably doesn't help the unit. Maybe you run small units of them in like Firestorm or something, so you can advance and shoot and get past the movement thing. Maybe you play them in reserves and you just play like 3-man units and you bring them in, shoot your guns, and then go back out. I don't know. Maybe. I will definitely experiment with the Centurion Devastators again. The Gladius Task Force, the Fire Discipline enhancement went down to 25 points, at which point, you know what, 25 points to get sustained hits is probably good enough. I do think. You can give Calgar a reroll on his advance if you're in the Devastator Doctrine, which helps him advance the charge, but yeah, I think you can consider it at least. At that point, it is at least like not completely outrageous. The last thing I want to talk about is Gilliman didn't go up. And yeah, Gilliman is pretty good. A lot of people think I don't think Gilliman is good. I never said he isn't good. At least I didn't say it on the tier list. On the tier list, I put him at number 3 in the Codex. Gilliman didn't go up. Gilliman didn't get nerfed. So I do think Gilliman will be the centerpiece of many lists going forward. The only other change, which is also in this document, is the Librarius Conclave got a small hit, which isn't really noticeable because, here we go. The Fusillade enhancement went up to 35 points. That's the enhancement which allows you to do critical wounds on a 5-up, which obviously combos with Sternguard veterans to kill Land Raiders in one shot at 30 inches away, which is completely balanced, and that goes up by 20 points. Now, why am I so calm about this? Because right here, Blade Guard went down 20 points. And if you watched my Librarius Conclave tournament report, right down here in my little channel, right down there in my little channel, you will notice that my list had a Blade Guard veteran squad and the Fusillade enhancement. So it all just works out for me. What a win for the Ultramarines. So yes, I'm curious to see where we go from here. I do think the Gladius is probably now the best detachment just because you can do some stuff with Desolation Marines, which have been performing pretty well, especially now that Inari are probably the best army in the game. I do think that either GSC or Eldar Inari are now the best army in the game. And I do think you can hang with them with Ultramarines if you build your lists correctly. So yeah, play your melee units. Maybe you just play small Blade Guard units. At the cost of 80 points, you can give a captain 9 extra wounds and reroll once to hit, which makes them oath agnostic, and then you pop off with Finest Hour and trade for something, and it's only 160 points to get a captain and 3 of them. Or maybe you just play 6 Blade Guard without any support, and you just throw them into something. Yeah, I definitely want to experiment with that. So yeah, RIP Ballistus Dreadnought. I'm sure we will see you again. Maybe we just pay the 10 points, because it is much better with Oath than it used to be without it. I will report back on the Vanguard if I can figure something out. And other than that, please look forward to the next detachment video. I might be going for something a bit different next time I put on the camera, or it will be the Firestorm so I can get it out of the way and post the first video where I just lose all 3 games because the Firestorm is like bad, but that's what it is. Courage and honor, Battle Brothers, we march for McCraig.